Hi, I'm back. Here is another essay that could use some improving. So I just wanted to talk you through that. Um, First of all, the student has a thesis paragraph using that strategy to make this a little bit more effective. Definitely, this word purposeful diction. It's so vague. I would say any diction is purposeful. I mean that that's saying purposeful words. So you want to pick some words that are a little bit more descriptive and concrete for your reader. Um, Appeals to emotion. I often would I really prefer for you guys to talk about strategies and how they appeal to emotion. Saying that appeals to emotion as a strategy, I think what you do is you oversimplify your discussion. It's much better to talk about very specific things the author is doing or employing and how the author expects that to appeal to the emotion of the audience. But the student does have a thesis, and so the student would earn a 1 for that. So again, here the student now begins to write an analytical paragraph. The student has not begun with a full topic sentence that is a claim. The student's jumping right into evidence. So again, I highly suggest to fix these kinds of things, what you really need to do is be writing chronologically. Instead of thinking throughout the course of the entire letter, think chronologically. And then as things begin to happen that are happening over and over again, then as you get to that discussion, so let's say in the beginning, there's some type of diction. I always say that he uses charged words against the British. So let's say in the beginning, he's using a great deal of charged words. And as he goes, he kind of peppers in more. In the beginning, the British are praying. In the middle, they are evil. Um, by the end, I'm not looking at the passage right now, but there could be another shift in the way that he's talking about the British and their oppressive choices. Um, so you want to be careful, like just focusing in on one strategy in an paragraph. I think it just oversimplifies your case, and it's definitely going to oversimplify it in such a way that you won't get that sophistication point. That sophistication point comes with a great control of language, as well as a great control and understanding of the purpose of the text that you're reading. Again, the student never really does make it clear what powerful diction means. Yes, the audience will be more receptive to some of these terms, but again, powerful diction, it's confusing. And when your readers get to something that vague, they really do not take the time to figure out what you mean. And if your discussion that follows is not as sophisticated as it needs to be, they're not going to sit there and try to figure out how it would become sophisticated if you had said. Okay. Um, this goes on into very specific detail. Okay. Um, okay. So yes, we have the student talking about listing specific laws and acts. I would like to know more about that because I would say that he picks the SALT Act quite specifically. He even says why, because it's the most egregious of the laws. It really does work to kind of further stifle people who are poor. What is the need for that? I would say that's the one he focuses in on the most. I don't know that he's mentioning other laws. I don't recall that. So I would definitely, I think a reader would start to question that. Okay. Here, this kind of sentence, I see things like this a lot, and they're not analytical. They really don't say much. And just imagine the readers across, readers are reading papers from across the globe. And they're probably going to see a lot of these types of phrases. These types of phrases have no power. They do not make you stronger. Making his intent clear helps give the audience a sense of what exactly they are responding to and what they are supporting or not supporting. This is exceptionally vague. It's moving away from the text. It's so broad and general. So again, you gotta pick your words carefully. You definitely want to be considering layers of meaning. It's not enough to say that this strategy makes the person consider something. You have to be immersed in the meaning of the text. Now, here, this when we get into the discussion of appeals to emotion, yes, being kind to someone makes someone inclined to respond positively. But again, I think in this instance, it's an oversimplification. It's obvious that Gandhi does not think that Lord Viceroy is going to actually enter into negotiation with him. I mean, ultimately, by the end of this section of the letter, we see that Gandhi is really just doing this out of a duty, kind of out of a diplomatic duty to let them know that, yeah, if you don't enter into these negotiations by this date, then this is what's coming. So, we are, by our very nature of nonviolent work, going to expose this larger evil, the nature of oppressive practices against poor people who have no weapon power against them, no way to really fight back through any kind of technological means. So they're using nonviolence, and in the world stage, the Salt March itself, it set off a huge amount of understanding of what was happening in India. And so it became like this symbolic image of people standing up against this, oppressive regime of a government. And so Gandhi knows that's who he's talking to. So you have to be careful too. There's no need to instruct your reader on how someone's supposed to be feeling if kind diction is used. Instead, you want to stay grounded in the purpose of the text and really try to get at the complexity of the text. So, as is, the student is kind of staying on the surface. The student's definitely picking out some interesting evidence, struggling a little to kind of label things and to really move into some of the complexities and the layers of meaning in this text. All right, thanks. I hope this helped.